policy, but again, we don't have one in place right now, so it's certainly something we'd like to get implemented.
Is there any further discussion on that? Are we good to move it to an action?
Yeah, I'm fine with that added. I think it's a good policy.
Great. Great, thank you.
Thank you. And again, congratulations.
Loretta, can you move that to an action item?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Really good cookies, thank you, PLC.
The ice cream is even better. Talk to the hand.
Next up is safety and security strategies with Mr. Watson.
Okay, you only got an hour now, right?
I got my timer set.
10 minutes.
1 hour.
10 minutes.
Come on now. I always have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we know.
I got my timer set.
Sorry.
I want to thank you for
It's
allowing me to
getting
come in
late.
front of you again tonight. I know I wasn't here in the very, very beginning and hear all the comments about the Evans Elementary School evacuation and reunification that occurred this week. And I want to say my sincere thank you and a job well done to all the staff members that were involved. It was one big team effort, and everyone did a phenomenal job, and I was very, very impressed, as was the law enforcement personnel that was on scene assisting. So having said that, I'm just going to move forward. I'm going to move kind of quick. I got some more important things I want to talk about. You guys kind of know we've been doing this since 2007, since I came on. Ever since then, we've been improving safety in the district. Additions included, we've really worked on emergency communications, our buzz entries into our schools, our emergency operations plan, which is going to be overhauled over the summer, and take a major revision. The Safe Schools plan is always changing as the new laws come down. I put on there a limited budget. We'll talk about those later on. Surveillance system, we're currently improving that in the district through the capital improvement. We just awarded a vendor today to move forward with that. Safety plans, we're continuing to look at those, partnering up with local law enforcement and chiefs of local fire departments to work on those. Training, CPI, and all those other things are still going on. Assessments, we're going to continue those over the summer. And the climate survey, the next one's going to go out in April to the secondary education. We're going to start in September, or in the fall, we'll cover all the levels of education, include elementary school, parents, and staff. Okay, so the future for enhancements. We're looking at adding some additional buzz entries throughout the district, and we kind of want to, FVA, Falcon Virtual Academy, was kind of our pilot for the new systems, because the old system, as I presented to you previously in December, is we're running out of the parts to be able to improve those systems. So we have a couple quotes. I'm not sure if you want me to throw budgetary numbers at you, but there's analog options and there's enhanced options. Basically, the difference is with the enhanced, the way the current system's set up, someone comes to the door and tries to buzz in, that person has to be stationary at that desk to buzz them in. With the enhanced option, it allows you with a fob to control who has that, to be able to allow people in the door without being stationary behind the desk. So we're going to be looking at those.
Would you have a visual on them, correct?
You would have a visual, correct.
That's what I was going to say.
You would definitely have a visual. But it just allows you not to be sitting behind a desk,
Okay.
pretty much. And that's one of the challenges we came across with this current system, and that's why we've had to buy additional errant phones, because you know, people are at a desk, and if that person was off doing an errand or doing something else, somebody had to run over there from another workstation to kind of let them in.
You know, I want some, you know, and you do it the way you want. I want somebody stationary. I don't want somebody in a rush with a fob, you know, moving around.
Right.
So I need to be set there with a visual. And the buzzing system is not really a system. I mean, what happened with Sandy Hook, they buzzed him in because he was known. Okay, people have seen him before. I'd like for you to look at something a little bit for reaching in that. I don't know. Because, I mean, if you have a parent, in old days, you have a parent that had just lost custody of a child in a court case, you know that child is at Falcon Elementary or Woodman Hills Elementary, he come blasting down here. The teachers and staff, they were allowed, he's picked the kid up several times before. So he goes in, and that's normally the mindset, he or she has lost custody, so therefore, we're gonna make the other party suffer, so we're gonna go in, we're gonna shoot up the school. And so I'm buzzing system. I know it's the only thing we got now, but I really would like for you to look at something a little more in depth than that, because sometimes you buzzing in a killer.
Absolutely, and I agree. And part of that process is I'm coming up with a procedure for that. And one of the things I'm going to be bringing to you as part of this enhanced plan is the permission from the board to proceed with, you know how we issue identification to our students, to do a identification card for all the persons, or especially the parents that are on the Infinite Campus contact. And when they come up to the airphone, not only will they be standing there, but they would have to show the ID in there. And then the person that's at a workstation, it would be my hopes that they would have Infinite Campus already pulled up. They could go in and verify that person's in good standing in Infinite Campus. It's just one more layer, and I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
So, all right. Training components. I've been teaching CPI now for 3 years in the district, and I've had several staff members come to me during the training and say, you know, we deal with autistic students throughout the district, and their response to the regular way CPI is taught is sometimes not efficient. And so CPI offers an autistic version of the CPI. And the instructor course is $2,000 per person, so my goal would be to send one per zone to become a autistic CPI instructor for their zone, to increase that so that we can assist those employees that deal with that population in our schools. Let's see. Security officers, I presented to you back in December. It's my goal to add 5 days to their work calendar a year so that I can train them 3 days in the summertime before school starts, and to have 2 staff development days for them, 1 per semester.
Mr. Weiser, what are we, when you go to a activity in the evening, I see we have law enforcement on the ground. Law enforcement is good, but they don't always need to intermingle with the kids when there's just something small going on. Are you allowing your staff from the different schools to function in the evenings after duty, or are we just sticking strictly with law enforcement?
Currently, there's a mixture.
Okay.
Depends on the school, because as you may be aware that it's site-based managed at this time. The security officers do not report directly to me, although that's been discussed at our level. I would have more control over that if they were to report to me and not as a site-based management, or if there was a hybrid model of a supervision between the schools and myself and my department. But yes, schools like Vista Ridge High School, they usually have at least 2 security officers at all their evening functions. I've seen all the schools have. It depends on the event.
Okay, thanks.
So.
Can we look into,
Sorry.
can we get some kind of update or somebody to look into the value of maybe doing a hybrid model or something like that? Or maybe even structure them, even though it's site-based, structure them into you. My concern is that the training piece, like you're talking about, when 5 more days, but that's not just a once in a year training experience.
And I concur. I didn't want to bring that up. I talked to him offline about that, but I'm not really aware. I mean, law enforcement security is not under law enforcement security for the district. But that's a conversation for another day.
I'd love to hear that sometime.
Sure.
Soon.
Let's see. And students and staff, I want to continue. I'm also a certified Safe to Tell instructor for the district.
Sure.
Getting into classrooms and getting into talking about the 8 different lessons Safe to Tell has to offer, as well as getting in front of the staff as well, so they know what it is. We've had an increase of Safe to Tell reports this year because we've been able, myself and counselors, been able to get into the classrooms and teach that curriculum.
Okay.
I have up here a safety and emergency assistant. As you guys know, especially in the last board meeting, I wasn't able to attend. I was away on military duty. You know that I do have a commitment to the Colorado Army National Guard, so it does take me away from the district at times.